You know what I'm talking about, right? You've probably got one of these somewhere in your house. That little white block of foam that just seems to work like, well, like magic. But what if I told you that its magic comes with a pretty big hidden cost?
I mean, seriously, it's so satisfying, isn't it? Just watching it make a permanent marker stain or scuff mark completely disappear from a wall. All you need is a little water. No crazy chemicals, no elbow grease. It's just pure cleaning power.
But have you ever really thought about it? As that little sponge gets smaller and smaller with every use, where is it going? What is it actually leaving behind? Well, according to some new research, the answer is millions and millions of tiny, invisible problems. Okay, so before we get into the heavy stuff, let's just take a moment to appreciate why this little sponge became such a household hero in the first place. It's a melamine sponge, and its whole genius is in its simplicity. You don't need any harsh sprays or soaps. It can take a pair of sneakers from totally wrecked to looking brand new. And let's be honest, it can erase your kid's crown masterpiece from the living room wall. It's really no surprise that so many of us have one of these under the sink. But, and you knew there was a but coming, all that convenience has a cost. And it's one that's completely invisible to the naked eye, but trust me, it's a big one. Okay, so here it is. This is the crucial finding from the research. Every single time you scrub something with one of these sponges, it's literally disintegrating. And those tiny little pieces that flake off, they're actually plastic fibers that get washed right down the drain. And we have a name for these, microplastics. We're talking about tiny, tiny strands of plastic. They're so small that they just slip right through our water treatment plants, which means they flow directly out into our rivers, lakes, and oceans. So why does this even happen? I mean, how does it work? To understand that, we've got to look at the actual science behind how these sponges clean. And it's actually pretty fascinating. All right, get ready for a sciencey name. The sponge is made from a plastic called polymelamine formaldehyde polymer. Yeah, it's a mouthful. But the important part isn't the name, it's how this material is structured. And this is what's so wild about it. You pick it up and it feels, well, like a soft, lightweight sponge, right? But on a microscopic level, it's a totally different story. Its structure is incredibly hard and abrasive. You can think of it like ultra-fine sandpaper. That's the secret. So let's break down exactly what's happening. You start scrubbing a stain. That tough sandpaper-like structure physically scrapes the stain off the surface. But in the process of doing that, the sponge itself just breaks apart, releasing all those tiny plastic fibers. They get rinsed off, and down the drain they go. So the very action of cleaning is what creates the pollution. And this is where things get, well, kind of mind-blowing. We are not talking about a few stray fibers here and there. The numbers, when you see them, are absolutely staggering. All right, you ready for this number? Let's just start with this one. 6.5 million. So what does that mean? It means for every single gram of sponge that wears away, and we're talking about the weight of like a single paperclip, a shocking 6.5 million microplastic fibers are released. Just think about how quickly these sponges shrink when you use them. Okay, but that's just for 1 gram. Let's zoom out and look at the global picture. Based on sales data, researchers crunched the numbers and came up with a global estimate. And it's this, 1.5 trillion. That's the estimated number of fibers being released into the environment from these sponges all around the world, every single month. That is just a mind-boggling amount of pollution coming from one little cleaning tool. And here's the kicker. As astronomical as that number is, the researchers themselves point out that it's a conservative estimate. They only looked at sales from one online retailer, so as they say here, the real number could be way, way higher. Okay, deep breaths. It sounds bad, I know. But the good news is the research doesn't just drop this bomb on us and walk away. It also points us towards some smarter, cleaner choices we can all make. So what's the fix? Well, it's kind of a team effort. You've got manufacturers who have a huge role to play by designing better products. And then there's us, the consumers. We have the power to choose different materials or push for bigger changes, like better water filtration in our communities. And for the companies that make these things, there's actually a really clear path forward. The study found something very simple. Denser sponges are just better. They hold up longer and they shed way fewer plastic fibers. It's a pretty straightforward design change that could make a massive difference. And that's where we'll leave it. But it really gets you thinking, doesn't it? The magic sponge is just one product. It makes you wonder,
What other everyday things in our homes, things we use without a second thought, might have a hidden environmental cost we've never even considered?